I burned my cousin's wedding dress, but she thanked me. I used to think Haley and I were sisters. We shared bunk beds at Grandma's lake house every summer, stayed up late talking about boys, and wore each other's clothes even when we pretended not to like the same ones. But that ended the summer we were 17. Someone stole money from my uncle's emergency envelope, and it was a huge deal. He started yelling, and my aunt cried, and everyone tried to act calm while clearly thinking the same thing. Someone here is a liar. Then Haley told everyone she wasn't sure, but she saw me near the room that morning, and she didn't look at me when she said it. She just looked at the floor, but that was all it took because everyone looked at me differently after that. My mom pulled me aside and told me to just tell the truth if I took it, but I didn't. But Haley let them believe I did, and no one ever questioned her. I wasn't invited to her graduation or her engagement party, but I heard about those things from my mom, usually with an awkward pause before asking if I wanted to come along, and I always said no. But for the wedding, Haley's mom insisted. So I showed up and sat near the back during the rehearsal dinner and clapped when everyone else clapped. And then I saw the dress hanging in the bridal suite like some kind of sacred object. That's when the idea started, but not fully formed, just a pulse in the back of my head that said, she doesn't deserve that, not after what she did. I came back later and told the front desk I left my phone in the bridal suite, and they let me in. It took 45 seconds to get into the room and another 10 to unzip the plastic. Then I used a lighter from my purse. I held the flame to the edge of the hem and watched the lace catch and curl. I thought I'd feel something like guilt, satisfaction, or relief, but I didn't feel anything, just the heat. Then the fire alarm went off and the staff came running, and then I saw her, Haley. She was barefoot and her rehearsal makeup still perfect, and she just stared at me, but then she smiled. The next morning, I expected screaming or accusations, or maybe the cops, but she pulled me aside and thanked me. I blinked and thought maybe she was being sarcastic, but she wasn't. She told me I saved her from making a mistake, and I asked what that meant, but she just shook her head and told me he wasn't who she thought he was, and then walked away. The wedding was called off, and guests were told it was canceled due to a family emergency, and no one got the full story. But I couldn't stop thinking about her face when she said thank you. But that's when a guy I didn't know came up to me at the bar. He looked older than most of the guests, but told me I wasn't the only one who wanted that wedding to fall apart. Then he showed me his phone with screenshots of DMs proving the groom had been cheating, and not just cheating, but blackmailing someone. The guy said his sister had been in a relationship with the groom, and she got pregnant, but when she told him, he threatened her and told her no one would believe her if she went public. She took her own life 6 weeks later, and her name was Emma. I asked how Haley could have known, but he pulled up a message from Emma's phone to Haley, telling her he was lying and begging her to believe it wasn't to ruin the wedding, but to keep her safe. But Haley never responded, which meant she knew, and she was still going to marry him, unless something stopped her, like her dress catching fire. But then, a week later, my mom called and told me she wanted to tell me something because she heard what happened and figured it was time. She told me Haley didn't betray me back then, it was her. She took the money and let me take the blame because she was scared, and told Haley to back her up or she'd push her out of the family.